On today's episode of Unbinged, we are talking about Pluribus, episode 3. We're asking the questions. Why do the joined need to keep Carol so happy to the point that they're giving her a hand grenade? There are potential problems on the horizon. We see that with the Sprouts grocery store. And what could Carol be planning? At the end there, everything was left pretty ominous. We're going to discuss all that and more on an all-new episode of Unbinged starting now. Welcome to Unbinged, the podcast where we discuss the shows and movies you love to binge. I'm your host, Alfredo Brown, joined as always. I've got Matt Kopfhamer with me today. Matt,
we are happy to be here.
Join.
We are very happy to be here. How can we make you happy?
Well, the Pluribussies are loving it. They're very happy to be here. Let us know in the comments. Are you team Pluribusters or team Pluribussies? So far, Pluribussies absolutely winning. Like I mentioned, we are talking Pluribus, everything from episode 3. We're going to get into all that. But first, let's get a spoiler warning.
We would never want to make you unhappy. So this is your spoiler warning for Pluribus, episodes 1, 2, and 3.
All right, let's talk about this. The big thing at the end of this episode is we've got the grenade. We've got Carol asking about, what if I wanted a rocket launcher? What if I wanted a tank? What if I wanted an atomic bomb? And our DHL guy says, we would move heaven and earth to make you happy, Carol. I understand that they want to not let her get angry, but where is this sense of needing Carol to be supremely happy to the point that she could actually, in fact, destroy the earth and humanity?
I mean, she already killed 11 million, so what's a few million more with a nuclear bomb, right? No, I think I wish Jagger was here because he mentioned something on the last episode about this seems to be the starting stages for a true proper alien invasion. So I wonder if needing to keep Carol happy is just a biological imperative written into this RNA virus and into the code to where anyone not part of the joined has to be made happy. So that way when the true aliens come...
What if Carol just goes off the deep end and she's like, okay, get me all of the atomic bombs on Earth and I'm just going to fire them all at the same time, destroy everything. That's so counterintuitive to what this hive mind virus joining would be wanting to do. Like, they do seem to be somewhat smart.
Maybe that's the flaw in the code, right? Maybe this was the alien invaders like, look, this is the perfect weapon because everyone will join, everybody will be docile, everybody will be happy. They didn't think that there would be these individuals who are crazy, in Carol's case, with grief. So maybe that is the fatal flaw in this Pluribus code.
So you still believe it's alien invaders?
I do. The fact that the signal came from 800 light years away and it was on repeat, and they mention how much power it would take to send a signal this strong to Earth from that far away, it seems very intentional. This doesn't seem like coincidence or even nature. This feels very much like a certain biological race had their sights on Earth and was like, let's get it. And they sent it. And who knows how long it's been sending. So maybe those aliens are actually dead. And so nobody's coming. And so now humans are just kind of like waiting for their overlords, and it never happens.
That's kind of how I was thinking of it. I still don't think it's aliens. I think it's sort of one of two things, or maybe a combination, right? I wonder if it's an alternative society from light years away who suffered a similar fate. They're just years and years and years ahead of us, and they're sending a warning message out to anyone else in the cosmos. And that warning message then gets turned into...
Do not open.
And we're like, cool, let's open. Let's put it in a rat, right? And then the rat becomes the rat king and just leader of the hive mind. That's the most human thing possible. Don't do this. I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it. We're seeing it. Welcome to Derry. Dick Halloran's like, hey, let's not mess with that creepy clown. And the general's like, we're going to mess with him.
It's honestly, and what I think too is I think that yes, a lot of it still could be happenstance where it's something that simply gets unlocked in the brain, something that was latent and dormant. I go back to what I said the first episode, kind of like in Limitless, where we're only using 10% of our brain. What if there is very similar to like Alien Earth, right? Where Wendy has this sort of connection to the xenomorph. What if we actually all do have this sort of connection, this latency across all of our minds, but it lies within the other remaining 90% of our brains that we don't use. So I I think for at least for Vince Gilligan, it would be more creative to do something like that. If it just became
Right.
aliens, I don't know.
It's a little
Would you be
boring.
disappointed
It's a
if
little
it's
boring.
aliens?
No, because I trust him enough to do something interesting with that, and seeing how he would handle an alien invasion, I think would be pretty cool. But I could also see him doing something like what you're saying, where it's like, this is what happens when you unlock the full potential of the human brain, and suddenly everyone is psychically connected, like with like a psychic glue. I could absolutely see him going both ways. I trust him enough based on his previous work with Better Call Saul and with Breaking Bad that he can do almost anything on screen, and I'm here for it because I know that he has a plan that's going to make sense at some point. Even if the plan, like the initial steps right now, I am a little confused as to what's happening.
There are things that are going on in the episode that, while it's still this I guess this joined society, they're not perfect. They do seem to be trying to strive towards that with little things, problems that are going to be on the horizon for Carol. Things of we are trying to preserve energy. We are trying to, put all the food in one place and preserve that. And they seem to have this idyllic mode that they want to be in. And I wonder. I don't think that the whole keeping Carol happy thing is even part of an overlord type thing. I think it is this hive mind, this herd, saying this is how the world is a better place. If everyone was just happy and we do all the utopia things, right? Everyone is happy, everyone thinks the same. There's no racism, there's no financial crisis, there's no anything. Will the world be a better place? And it's showing us from this vessel of Carol that it's not a better place. In fact, like, it's still super shitty. It still has a lot of the same problems and all new problems as well.
Right. And it kind of reminds me of, to bring it back to the Incredibles, it's like if everyone's super, no one's super. So if everyone is happy, no one is happy. Because the thing about emotions is you need that contrast. You need the darkness to appreciate the light. So if everyone is happy, are they actually, or are they just like there's going to be problems down the road with that? Because, and I was thinking about this in the episode, like what happened to all the people with mental illness, right? The schizophrenics, the people with bipolar, the people that are physically disabled. Like what happened to them? Are they being taken care of? Are they being left on their own? Are they like ejected from the join? Like, are we going to see that exploration of things in this show? Because right now, surface level, like you said, everything seems idyllic, but where is the rotten underbelly? And I think we're getting little pieces of that, especially like last episode when they're talking about we don't want to kill. And we let all the animals out of the zoo, and a bunch of people got mauled by tiger. Like, so we're seeing small little cracks. And when does that become a fissure in this show? And is it something that Carol is going to point out and be like, "Here's the fatal flaw in your pluribuses," or is it going to be something that just by happenstance happens? So I'm very intrigued what's next for the joined.
We're going to talk more about the potential problems on the horizon, what Carol could be planning, how Carol kind of mirrors us in so many ways. But before we do that, we are going to have all of our Pluribus reaction shows dropping on Thursday nights, right after the release of the episodes on Apple TV. So those episodes on Apple TV will drop at 9 p.m. Eastern every Thursday night. So those you seeing like the marketing and you're waiting till Friday, it actually drops Thursday night, and we are going to release these episodes right after that at 9:45 p.m. Eastern time. So you can go and watch your episode on Apple and then come on over to YouTube, join us for the after show. And while you're here, leave your comments, your questions, your theories, what you think is going to be happening next, your biggest questions from the show, right? What you saw, and we're going to bring it up on the following episode. So anything from this episode 3, we'll talk about on episode 4 as part of our audience theories and comments there. Also, we're going to be covering a bunch of great shows. We've got Welcome to Derry that we're doing right now. We just watched Predator Badlands. We've got Stranger Things coming. Fallout Season 2 just dropped a trailer today. So I'm really excited for that one coming out in December. Koff, we finished this episode with Carol. It was interesting to see almost like a bookend of how this episode started and finished, where it looks like Antarctica, right? And with looking at the Northern Lights with Helen in an ice hotel.
I think it was like Sweden or Norway.
Was it?
One of
Okay,
those Finnish countries, I think. Scandinavian countries.
Yeah. Sure.
Cold. It was cold, and I
Yeah,
fucking I would have hated it.
that was what I took
So,
away from it. It was cold. Sure. Um, it's funny to see how miserable she was, even when hearing her book is a bestseller. She's on this incredibly unique vacation with her partner, and looking
bro,
at
it's
the northern
-3
lights, something
degrees.
beautiful.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. It's cold. I'm miserable too. So I'm with Carol on that one.
What did you think? It's an ice hotel. Like, what did you think?
I love her line about the toilet. Is the toilet made of ice? I'm gonna stick to it. Like, legit. As soon as I saw the ice bed, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out. I'm going to a goddamn to a Hilton.
Is there a worse idea for a hotel than an ice hotel?
Oh, probably one in a volcano with a bed made of lava. I don't know.
So you mean Florida? Got it.
Yeah. Good point.
So you mean Florida? The ice hotel is just ridiculous. But there's this moment there where she's sitting there looking at the northern lights with Helen, and Helen is so happy. And it's such an interesting contrast of two people, one who is appreciating the moment and the other who simply can't. And then we get to the end of this where Carol is being given items. She does the sarcastic thing and says, "You know, it would be great, a fucking hand grenade. That would really make it all better." And she gets the grenade, and then she's blowing things up, and then she's talking about asking for atomic bombs, bazookas, all kinds of things. She has a very similar no smile, is what I'm going to call it here, at the beginning of the episode and the end, where you just see the camera pan in on her face, and it looks like she might smile, but she never does.
The Mona Lisa smile.
I found to be so interesting.
Yeah. What I took from the first scene, right, is, and even from the last scene, because she goes to the hospital with, and I'm going to butcher this name, Soza, right? Zosha, thank you. So for as miserable as Carol is, she's still incredibly empathetic. So when she heard that she killed millions of people by accident, like, she puked. So she is not this heartless bitch. She has emotion, she has feelings, and she feels for other people. And that's what I think those two bookend scenes were showing, is when she was with Helen, yeah, she was miserable in the moment, but she was with the person she loved. And so she had that, like, connection, she had that empathy, and she was like, okay, if she's happy, I can at least give myself a little bit of that. And at the end, I think she sees a path forward where she's like, okay, maybe, even though I'm not a medical doctor, maybe, and there's no scientists left, there's nothing like that, maybe I can find loopholes to bring people out of this joint. And so I think she's starting to get those machinations in her brain of, like, what can I ask for that may kind of put them in a position where they will finally snap out of this, because I think she's still under the impression that she can change what's happened and maybe reverse it. How do you feel about that?
I mean, yeah, I definitely think she's still plotting, right? She's trying to figure out what she can do to reverse this. She keeps asking who's a medical expert. Is there anyone that's involved in science? She finds out there's a guy that makes really good noodles, and she's like, no, not what I need.
Noodles.
I love when she gets a hold of the Spanish speaker on the phone, who's a gentleman in Paraguay who's reluctant to speak to anyone, and he tells her "No joda más puta," and just like, stop bothering me, leave me alone, whore. And then she responds back with "fuck your mother, bastard," which is I'm translating it for everyone. Chinga tu madre. So fucking funny, man. Yeah, it's you could tell she's sort of grasping at straws, but doesn't know what to do. And I think what you said was spot on, is that the empathy is still there, and that there's so many people that are empathetic but don't have happiness still, which is so interesting. Like that's what Carol's doing here. She does it seem like she's trying to replace Helen with Zosha here? Almost like the way the episode 2 ends, she doesn't let Mr. Diavate take Zosha away. Then when Zosha is hurt from the grenade, she is actually it hurts her feelings. It hurts her heart. She's there at the hospital with her, taking care of her. You know, I think most people might not even care.
And that's another thing that goes towards, like, what would have happened if Carol had been like a literal sociopath who had no empathy, and they were like, you killed 11 million people, and she's like, really? And then screams in their face again. So seeing somebody with empathy in this situation, I think, is more intriguing as an audience, because otherwise you're just watching like a horror film from the Michael's perspective, right? Which is kind of boring. But having her be put in these situations where she is directly causing harm because of her like thoughtlessness. Like she thinks the grenade's fake, so she's like, "You wouldn't give me a real one," and then so she's like, "Give me that real quick."
Yeah,
So
so calmly. She's like, "May we, Carol?"
even in the face of like literal like this individual is gonna die, they still couldn't harm Carol, which I think is another clue towards like even if there are no aliens coming, this virus was I think initially intended as a like make the populace docile. And so it's crazy to me that they can't kill, they can't seem to harm, they can't say no. They literally could not say no to her, even when she asked for a nuclear weapon. And they're like, well, we would talk to you about why it's a bad
Yeah,
idea.
I was gonna say there was reasoning. Our DHL guys, like, we would try to explain to you the dangers of it and try to convince you otherwise. So it's interesting. I don't want to say there's free will, but there does seem to still be a thought process, not just
Right.
a here you go. Like there's not nothing behind the eyes.
Right. They know this is a bad idea, but for whatever reason, they cannot stop. They are almost driven by like we have to give the things they ask for, no matter how dangerous, no matter how harmful it is to the collective. Or in the case of the supermarket, it seems really innocuous, but one person, they literally filled an entire supermarket with goods, perishable goods, for one individual. And then in the next scene, they talk about efficiency and conservation. And so those two ideas are so polar opposite. I am, as a viewer, I'm very confused. It's like, what is the point of this virus if they're just going to bend over backwards for one person?
That's why I don't think it's coming from some sort of alien race that's trying to control, because there's not really any good planning here. You'd think that if they worked so hard to make something like this happen, they'd have some pretty good steps figured out, or they had done this before. And right now, it's like Carol watching the Golden Girls and going shopping at Sprouts is really throwing them off their game. That's why I struggle to think it's aliens. I do think a lot of it is happenstance of our own doing, of another society's doing. Just kind of, someone said it in our last episode as a comment, is that the natural evolution of the human brain, too. That's just, I think it's super interesting. Koff, you had a really good theory, not theory, but like just talking point prior to the show of Carol being in the 7 stages of grief and how that's being represented here. Talk on that a little bit.
Absolutely. So it's literally been 4 days since she lost her life partner. I'm not sure if they were officially married, but they were absolutely living together. They traveled together. I think Helen was her manager on her tours. But it's been 4.5 days since she has lost the person that she relied on the most, that she had the most vulnerability, most emotional vulnerability to. And so now she is not only dealing with the external whatever the hell's going on with the join, but also the internal grief of losing your life partner that they've been together for at least
It
eight,
hasn't
nine,
allowed her to
10 years.
grieve, like, at
Exactly.
all.
Like she got to bury her and they helped her bury her, but that was her only act of grieving that we've seen on camera. And now she is literally like hunkered down watching Golden Girls,
And dumping a
like
bottle of
underneath a
Aquafina.
blanket. Yep. That yeah, there you go. So all of that to me is like she is going through those grief steps, and the anger that she has externally towards the joined is a natural part of that. And so she is trying to keep that on hold because she doesn't want to cause another mass death event with her emotions. But it's going to be interesting when she gets past these initial steps of like anger and denial, when she gets to the bargaining or she even gets to the acceptance stage. What is that going to look like in a society where everyone around her is no longer an individual and seems to be trying to cater to her happiness? How does she come to grips with losing the person she loved the most? And I don't know how I would react. Like, I'm not married. I don't have a significant other right now. You do, Alfredo. Like, how would you be in this situation?
I gotta be honest. I don't know that I'd keep going. Like it's
Okay.
just it's one of those things. Like I've thought we've talked about it before, that if we lost one another, it's tough to just keep going in life in general. Like, you really just
Right.
lose that will and that want to live when you know you have your person and they are now gone. So to
Hmm.
be in this scenario where it's not only that you lost your person, but you've kind of lost humanity, that's that's tough. Giving up seems really,
Real
really
easy.
good at that point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that's the other thing too that separates Carol here is that she actually gives a shit about humanity as compared to some of our other characters here.
Right.
And what I find interesting is that even though she cares about humanity, she has this empathy, and she does seem to be one of the few free thinkers. And we don't know what the other characters, right, or what they're going through. We have what, 7 other people that we can meet throughout this that are not English speakers,
I think so.
or 6, I can't remember. Um, and we'll find out more of their story. But I think it was really funny when Carol gets mad and says, I don't need you to bring me whatever breakfast, or I don't need you to bring me any food items. I am self-sufficient. And it's so human. It's so relatable to
So
say I'm
American.
self-sufficient. Yeah, I'm so
Mm-hmm.
self-sufficient, but she really needs to have her sprouts filled up with all of her produce, right? Like I'm self-sufficient if I'm in my ecosystem, if I have my electricity on, if I have my grocery store, if I can, I mean, eventually her car is going to run out of gas. Like where is she going to be getting that from? There's so many things where yes, she's self-sufficient for what she has trained for what her life has
Right.
given her, for what the ecosystem gives her. It's not a real self-sufficiency. And so like
Which
there's going to be some big problems on the horizon that I think this show will go from being kind of quirky to it could get dark really fast.
sinister. You get real sinister.
Yeah.
I mean, I was freaked out when we got the grocery store setting up scene. Like to me, that was the freakiest thing we've seen so far. Just the how all of them were like literal worker bees walking past each other. Nobody was saying excuse me. Like they didn't need to. They were all doing. They had their job and they were doing it. And I was just like the whole time I was uncomfortable watching that. And if I was Carol, I don't know how I'd react because that to me would have freaked me
When
the
I
hell
heard the
out.
word toot sweet, I would have, I don't know. I've never heard that in like everyday life before. That would have been the end for me. I'm calling it quits right
Just
there. Hey
unraveling.
guys, I'm going to end it. Somebody
Yep.
casually dropped a toot sweet
Give
on
me
me
a
at
gun,
Sprouts.
please. Yeah, exactly. Which is what I wonder if we're gonna get. I wonder if the Paraguay guy is gonna be like a doomsday prepper, and that's what the reveal is. Like why he was off the grid. They didn't know about him for the first 14 hours because he's hiding out in his bunker. So I wonder if we're gonna get that reveal of like he is this ultimate doomsday prepper that was hiding out in the wood, the jungles of Paraguay, and this is his like Christmas because finally like he gets to do all the things he wanted to do. He's been planning for.
He's Nick Offerman in Last of Us.
And exactly, and then I could see that being a quirk or a plot line, but just yeah, I would be so freaked out if I was in Carol's shoes and just having to try to navigate your what you think is your day to day, but then you're confronted with the fact that like nothing you do can be on your own unless you literally start your own garden, start your own like start your own farm and truly try to make yourself self-sufficient. But at this point, there's 13 other people that are unjoined. What's the point? Like just be like everybody else and either lean into it or take yourself out because there is no I don't think there is a reversal of this. I think we've gotten to the critical point where this is how life's going to be from now on. You either accept it or you don't.
So I don't know that I subscribe to the idea that there's not a reversal. One, because I think you have to have that hope for an audience and for a character like Carol for this to all matter and keep going. Because if not, then it's voyeurism, right? Like we're just watching a reality TV show of people at the end of the world. And I think there needs to be that hope still left in the story. There was a moment there, Koff. You mentioned this line earlier where Zosha says we have a biological imperative, right? And the dialogue back and forth. Carol says, "Okay, so I have agency until I don't." Zosha then tells her, "If you saw someone drowning, would you throw them a life preserver?"
Some people
And she
wouldn't.
kind of and she keeps going on and on and on about like, of course you would. You wouldn't think about it. You would just do it. And Carol says, "So I'm drowning?" And that's when Zosha says, "You just don't know it." And if anything, I think that with Carol, with how miserable she's been, that's almost the kind of person that wants to prove you wrong. I feel like that's like kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, which is so weird to say considering all of the circumstances in society in this episode or what's left of society. But to base it for Zosha to then tell Carol, you're drowning and you just don't know it. Carol couldn't even hear her tell her that she had half a carton of milk. She says, it's 3/4, fuckers. Like, she can't be wrong about anything.
She's obstinate and she's stubborn. So I could absolutely see that little half smile at the end is her being like, oh, I'm going to ask for medical books. I'm going to ask for scientists. I'm going to ask for all this information. Give me your research on what you're doing to try to make me part of the joined. And then she's going to either teach herself or try to teach herself how to like fuck that process up or reverse it somehow. So I could see this being like her so stubborn that she's going to teach herself like organic chemistry just to try to reverse this.
I mean, I don't know if we'll have the time for that, and that would be such a great little connective tissue into Breaking Bad.
I don't know. Yeah, right. Because I love how Vince Gilligan is using the timestamps, both running backwards and running forwards, to show where we're at in the story. So we saw it with the Ice Hotel at the beginning, which was I believe like 8 years prior to the joining, and then we see it cuts to 4.5 days after. So I love how he's utilizing that, and I can see him at some point in the future playing with that time clock and being like, okay, we're gonna jump 5 years in the future, we're gonna jump backward. How are we gonna play with this time dilution and dilation to make this story compelling?
I do think that with this episode, Coffee, say like, how are we going to make this more compelling? I do think with this episode, some people are actually going to be pissed off. I think that the people who are on the fence about this show are going to be totally out. There's been people that said episode 1 was cool, but it's all shock value, and then episode 2 was boring. I think there's going to be a lot of people that think episode 3 is boring, and
wrong,
they might be out on this show. Yeah, no, cool. I mean, we believe that this is a good show, and anyone who's watched this far, you believe this is a good show. And I almost think deservedly so. If you don't find this entertaining, if you're not looking at the details of the story, if you're not enjoying it, then yeah, this show's not for you. Like, you probably shouldn't be, quote, part of the joined here watching the show and enjoying it, because it's just not for you. Like, you're going to need something really large and traumatic every single week. Kind of got that here still with like the grenade and asking for weapons, and everything was perfectly creepy at the grocery store. We even got Golden Girls, man. Come on now. We got Betty White up in this show. Yeah. What more could you want? Stop complaining. I do think
what you're saying is that some people don't deserve to be pluribuses. So got it.
Exactly. Yeah. You'd be so lucky to be pluribuses with us. Check yourself. Pluribusters.
Pluribuster. If they're out, they're pluribusters. If they're in, they're pluribuses. Perfect.
Exactly. You're out, you're a pluribuster. You're in, you're a pluribusy. Welcome to the joined. I will say this. I think that Carol, it's low-hanging fruit to say this. Carol is absolutely a mirror up to our humanity. We're never satisfied. Just like how I think some people will be with this episode. We believe we are self-sufficient until you take away our sprouts or our electricity. We are stubborn because we actually have 3/4 of a carton of oat milk, not half. So we're always right. And she just needs to be comfortable and wants to be left alone. Like, if that is not a mirror up to humanity and where it is right now, and what we as a society went through with COVID, where we're at with TV, with movies, with film, with AI, with technology, with everything. I think that someone said this online, and I know I'm kind of like jumping, but someone said online that, why would I watch this show? Every character is so unlikable. And I was like, well, my guy, that's kind of the point. The most miserable person on earth has to save humanity from happiness. That's kind of the point, is for her to be unlikable, but incredibly relatable.
She's the most real character on TV right now. Like you said, she's not only a mirror for like the audience, she's a mirror for like kind of where we're at as a society, where it's like we have never been more connected because of the internet, because of technology, and yet we've never been more alone, it feels like, because we can literally put ourselves in a echo chamber where all we hear, all we listen to, all we see is the things that we think, and it just reaffirms. So we can be the most isolated while still being the most connected we've ever been. And we're seeing that play out on our television screen with Carol, where despite everything she says to them and to the joint, like, they still like, well, we think this will make you happy, so we're gonna send you an unprompted ad for a breakfast that you had 10 years ago that made you happy. And it's like getting an advertisement on Instagram for something that you're like, last week I thought I needed a new bed, and now I'm getting flooded with ads for all these different beds and duvets and comforters and blah 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 blah. So it's like, how do you deal with that bombardment while you're still grieving and you're still trying to pretend like you can be self-sufficient despite all the evidence to the contrary? So this is, to me, one of the most real characters on television right now.
She does the thing where she asks the questions the audience has and says the things the audience would say. It's like watching a horror film and you're always like, no, don't go that way. Don't go behind that door. And you finally find that one character where you're like, okay, this person gets it. I'm rooting for them. That's kind of who Carol is in this scenario. It's easy to root for her, even though she's not a likable character because she's so relatable.
Right.
And something that from this episode, I wanted to ask this, Kopf, what's the everyday thing, like grocery shopping, that if it's taken away from you, you'd miss it the most, or you'd need it the most?
That's
I think for me, I know mine.
I'm incredibly lazy. So like, you feel like you don't have to shop anymore? Cool. I don't do laundry anymore? Cool. I don't do dishes anymore?
Cool. was that not Uber Eats, like right there, or Postmates or anything, right? Where she's like, oh, just whatever you want, we'll bring it right here to the comfort of your home.
That sounds amazing to me. That's why I couldn't be a Carol. I know Jagger is a Carol. I would absolutely be the French guy on Air Force One, just living my life, having a great time until I got tired. I figured
you would be. This makes the most sense.
Now, the thing that I think I would miss the most is just like interacting with people that aren't like creepily like, oh, we want to help. I'd like, give me somebody that wants to like clap back and call me an asshole. Like, give me something, because thank you. Like, we're in a group chat together. We say some of the most terrible things. Yeah, exactly. We say some terrible things to each other out of love, and that
I'd move heaven and earth for you, Kopf. You bastard.
No, fuck off. Like, that's what I would miss, is that that snarkiness, that sarcasm. Like, I thrive on like sarcastic humor. So I think that interpersonal, like just talking to somebody and having it feel authentic and real and not like a spokesperson, I think is what would drive me nuts the most.
Yeah, I think it's very similarly. I'm going to be such a fanboy here. Like, I would miss being able to watch movies and TV shows and listen to podcasts and hear creative people be individuals and watch creative people make art. Because I feel like that's one of the big things Vince Gilligan has talked about, right? AI, and how it's things can be replicated, movies can be made, commercials are being made, shows are being made, all kinds of stuff is being made with AI. It's not soulless. Same. Right. And I think that goes to like what you're saying, where it's like, I would miss interacting with people. I think that's one of the vessels in which we interact with people is through art. And without that, with this sort of like AI society or the pluribuses out here, it would not be quite. That would be the thing I think I'd miss the most. Because I was thinking about it, it's like, would I miss sports? It's like, no, they can go out there and they can play. That'd be fun to watch, I guess. Sure.
It's like real life Madden.
Right? Yeah. Like, okay. I guess that could work out. I feel like one of the only things you can't really replicate the same way is the creativity of art that goes into, all of this, right? Like, even what we're trying to do is have a podcast,
Content.
No, don't say content. God damn it.
I'm sorry.
God damn
I'm
it.
sorry.
Now we have to end the show.
No. I do kind of bouncing off of that idea. Something that I thought during this episode was, I wonder if Carol at some point can ask them, be like, hey, is there a way, because we kind of got a little bit with the pilots, right? Where the pilot's like, this individual is Dan Johnson and he has 42,000 hours in the air. Is there a way for them, the joined, to almost individualize one of the consciousness, and that way Carol could have a conversation with like an individual instead of the collective?
Would you trust it?
No, but at this point, like, can you trust anything they're telling you, right? So, but I feel like as a human being, we need that interpersonal. Like, the cruelest thing you can do to somebody is give them isolation, because they will go crazy with their own thoughts eventually. So, is there a way they're like, we want to make you happy? Could she ask for them to give her an individual to just have a conversation with at some point? And how does that work? What are the limits of this joining? Where
I think they
can they separate?
She kind of has that with Zosha,
Zosha?
right? And then even no matter how hard they try, Zosha still it's the
She's
flaw
still
actually.
plugged
Like
in. Right.
yeah, it's sort of the imperative flaw actually in Zosha is that even when she's trying to be a friend or be there for Carol, make Carol happy, she'll do the thing where she will bring up
She'll
memories
pause
from
and
Helen's
then
past or bring up, food or what's in the fridge and all these things. And it actually just
right.
pisses off Carol that much more. I actually just don't, I think because of the directive they have here, I don't think they even can do that. The individuality.
But can it evolve? Can Carol kind of force an
Maybe.
evolution in this joining? And I wonder if that's something that we're going to get to explore later on in this season or in one of the future seasons.
Ooh, what would be the thing to make them devolve?
I mean, ooh, just her being
Are we
fucking
watching
pissed off
All's
again.
Fair on Hulu?
No Kim
Kim
Kardashian
with
content.
her ass cheeks out in the skirt. What a fit.
It's just they all go on the fritz. Oh god. Which I want to know what celebrities survived and what cameos we're gonna get from famous celebrities. Because
Oh,
that
that'd
would be
be
something.
interesting.
That would be something if I was Carol. I'd be like, I want to meet Dan Marino because I haven't had a chance to meet Dan Marino in real life.
I have.
So,
It's not that great. It's okay.
well, I want to be happy.
He's a
though.
nice fella. Maybe we
That's
get a
what I'm
Bryan
saying, is
Cranston
like-
cameo.
Yeah, that's what I want. Hell yeah, Nick Offerman and Bryan Cranston, the last two preppers in the world.
All right. Last thing that you and I wanted to talk about, we were discussing this before the show, is the title sequence for this, which it kind of just pops up, and you got the choir. And I don't even know if it's a choir or if it's one or two people, maybe just sort of harmonizing as they sing here.
Vocalizing.
Yeah, vocalizing, and it's a really quick little thing, but there's some stuff to notice from the title card sequence. And one, I noticed that the words themselves almost look like a fingerprint, right? Like a biological fingerprint. You had noticed something else from it.
Yeah, I noticed. It seems like there's a pulsing effect, right? So it emanates from the P and then goes to the rest of the screen. So I wonder if that is, maybe I'm just reading far too into it because of Severance and things like that. But I wonder if that is indicative of there is a central, like control person for the hive mind. Is that the rat that bit the scientist? Is that the initial scientist
Give
that
us
got
the
bitten?
king.
It's
Give
got to
us
be
the
the Rat
Rat
King.
We need the Rat King more than anything. Imagine
And so,
Carol just like, okay, well, take me to whoever's in charge.
Ratatouille. It's just Ratatouille.
In the lab, just pulling the hair of the lady that was still there.
But I wonder if they're trying to tell us something about if you can somehow disrupt that signal. Is there a way to stop this from happening, or is it too late now that the RNA has been introduced to the DNA? Is it too late for that? So maybe again, it could just be reading too much into that little, like literally 15-second title card. But it seems very intentional that it would be, a signal like we saw in the first season or the first episode. And what is the implications of that, if any?
Well, Koff, this was a good episode of Pluribus, and I'm still hooked in. I'm still part of the Pluribuses, and I'm hoping that everyone that's watching this or listening to this over on Apple or Spotify, you guys are enjoying this as well. We're going to be back again next week. Like I said, the episodes go up on YouTube. So if you can't wait for the following morning for the audio, the episodes are going to go up on YouTube right after the show airs on Apple TV. Come on over here, enjoy the after show. And then for those of you who are just going to watch that night, listen to it the next day, we'll be up on your podcast feeds Friday mornings when you wake up. So be sure to download there. And if you haven't already, leave a review. A 5-star review helps us so much. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you like about the show. Maybe some requests that you have, shows we got to look into. I got to say, I think we're going to be diving in deeper into more Apple TV stuff. I just started Foundation, and I'm enjoying that. There's going to be a good menu over there at Apple TV, Koff.
Oh yeah, we can sink our teeth into it for sure.
Oh, boo. You should sink your teeth into Apple. All right, that's it. And we're leaving. On that note, as always, I want to thank everybody for watching or listening all the way through. For myself, for Koff, we'll see you next time. Adios.